So I just want to welcome everyone that's on the line with us right now. My name is Larissa Gadsby. I am the co-chair for the Nurse Practitioner Interest Group of RNAO. I'm also a member of the RNAO board. And we're so excited to be co-hosting this webinar series with RNAO. We're so thankful to the support that we've gotten from home office just to provide a monthly webinar series so that RNAO nurse practitioners, we can network, share, learn, discuss, and collaborate on various topics. This is the very first webinar that we have put on, and so we're very excited to have a wonderful conversation together. And this will go for about an hour, and I do believe it is being recorded so we can watch after. We can confirm all those details at the end. So just a quick, for those of you who have joined us, the Nurse Practitioner Interest Group is very new. We're approaching 1 year, and we're very excited to be collaborating with RNAO to continue to provide nurse practitioners with a voice and an opportunity to network and connect. And so we're just so thankful for the support that we've had. And I'm very pleased to be able to welcome RNAO's CEO, Doris Grinspan, who is going to host the webinar for us today. We're so thankful for her time. So I just want to say welcome to you, Doris, and you can take it away.
Thank you so much, and a delight, absolutely. So we thought with the NPIG that it will be important to give our pulse on our new government and what are the issues that we are moving forward. Also to hear from you as much as possible what other issues you think we should pursue. So I will try to go only for, let's say, 20, 25 minutes and then stop. But if you have questions in between, feel absolutely free to ask those questions as you go along so you don't forget them. Just send them through the Webex, and we either may stop in between to answer the questions or do that at the beginning. So given that you are all RNAO members, because that was about the only requirement for the webinar, that these be NPs that are RNAO members, and let me tell you as a piece of important news that we have the largest majority of NPs as members of RNAO, which we feel extremely proud, and hence why with Larissa and May, the two co-chairs of the interest group, we decided that we need to build a robust program for you, both with the monthly webinars as well as the event that we are hosting in November, and then additional very, very exciting events that you will hear in the next couple of months coming forward. So RNAO's role is really to influence, inform, advocate, connect, and protect, and of course inspire. And we believe that we are delivering in space, both for NPs and for RNs, and also for nursing students, in all of the above. And the objectives for the webinar today is to share insights on the new government and take the pulse on opportunities and challenges for NPs in Ontario, discuss ways to leverage your role, current and future, to advance the health of Ontarians and of our health system. And this is where we would like to hear from you what new agenda items you would like to see pursue, and to dialogue on next steps to advocate for NPs and for healthy public policies. As you know, RNAO is a professional association for RNs, NPs, and nursing students in Ontario. We are over 41,000 members. Likely we will end up this year membership either very close to 42,000 or surpass the 42,000. In fact, October 31st is our last day of membership. And there are very different promotions going on that actually, let me just mention briefly, we want to make sure you are aware of. One of them is that this is the best time for you to tell MPs who are not in this phone call because they're not MP and RNO members, it's the best time to tell them to join. Because if you get 2 new MPs, or for that matter, an RN and an MP or 2 RNs, that either are never been an RNO member or that have lapsed, and lapsed means not members for the past 2 years, you yourself will receive a beautiful present that you can either keep or give to a friend during Christmas, which is the new book that is already a bestseller at Sigma, The Transforming Nursing Through Knowledge, which is the book about the history of the BPG program, past, present, and future, which is an absolutely amazing book, and hence why it became a bestseller. We also have, from now till October 31st, free membership for year 1, 2, 3, and 4 of undergraduate students. And the last thing is that we always have complimentary membership for graduating RNs. So for the MP, the one that most fits is the issue of bringing 2 new members. Make sure they put your name, and you will get free of charge the book mailed to your home. RNO, both past and present, provides a very strong voice to the nursing profession in influencing and promoting healthy public policy and clinical excellence. And we do that both through our evidence-based materials that we develop, including, of course, the backgrounders for MPs, which I will speak a bit more later on, as well as through our evidence-based guidelines. And that is absolutely a topic that Larissa has brought to my attention as one topic where it would be fantastic if we can develop some of the guidelines geared towards MPs specifically. So I would be interested through NPIG and through our meeting in November, or maybe we can do another one of these webinars to hear from you, or else you can write me directly at dgreenspoon@rno.ca. Which guidelines you think will be important for MPs, or which guidelines that we have should be augmented with more advanced knowledge for MPs. So those are really the 2 programs that we have as the core programs of RNO, the Healthy Public Policy Program and the BPG program, and of course, the many, many membership benefits, including PLP, which is included in the membership, which you are all aware, and the membership is only $265, including PLP and including taxes, and then it's $175 if you are an ONA member. And if you are, like Larissa, on mat leave, and then it's only $80, I believe, or something like that. And you get the PLP covered, including when you are in mat leave and in any of the categories, and that's included in the price. We also have, of course, the lab program, which is very, very important, and it allows you, if you have issues with the college, to have legal support, and that program is separate from the membership. It's $60, but it covers legal costs. And I'm not a clinician at this point, but I have the lab program. You want to sleep well at night, I keep saying. RNO does its work very, very anchored on values. So when we are talking about checking the pulse on the government, we don't change our T-shirt because who is the government of the day? And that means we don't change our platform and the issues that we put in our platform when a government changes. What we do is we may change the strategy of how we go about that. So in that sense, I keep saying we are going to go for the big wins and also the big losses. A big win recently is the announcement of the consumption the supervised consumption sites and overdose sites, which used to be called SIS and OPS. The name change did not mean that the program has changed. People will not need to sign agreement to treatment to go, they still will be able to access the clinics, and they will have now permanent funding, and you can credit by and large RNAO and the relationship with the new government for moving those ahead, and more importantly, credit the members, about 3,300 of them, who wrote to the minister, who wrote to the premier and opposition parties, and the many interviews, over 30 interviews that we did since the elections to now on this topic, and obviously deliver results and deliver them relatively fast. So the values don't change. The evidence changes only if indeed the evidence changes scientifically on issues. Otherwise, we don't change the evidence based on who likes the clinics or who doesn't. As the mayor in Windsor said, he doesn't like these clinics. Well, this is not about liking them. This is about what will save lives. And what we do need to take more from time to time, depending on the issue and who we need to push, is the courage pill. And on this, also in peace, we'll need to take the courage pill, because I have heard, and I did make Larissa aware of it, of some organizations that are decreasing the number of MPs, and that is absolutely unacceptable to us here at RNO, and I know it's also to Larissa. So we do need to hear from you. If you hear from your organizations, please know that you can rely in confidence to RNO, that we will never release your name or who told us what, but that's our best hand on the pulse, is really to hear from members on issues going in their own places or other places that you hear. It doesn't mean that we will act on the spot, because we do then our own homework without relaying who shared with us what. But then if we find issues that they're doing away with MPs or doing away with RNs and replacing them either by PAs or by others, we do, here we don't need the courage pill, because we have a board that gives us the courage pill. But in the workplaces, you may need that, because you are more at risk in many ways than us. But you are not at risk in contacting RNO, and your address for MPs will actually be Joy, and PG will put Joy's address on an email so that you can share in confidence, and if you are not comfortable sharing with Joy, even though you have our word that you will keep it in confidence, you can write directly to me. RNO ends are very wise. They have not changed for many years. They may change on a small wording here or there, but in principle they are the same. Engage with RNs and PEs and nursing students to stimulate membership. And the reason that we need more members is simply because we want to advance the role of an image of all nurses. We want to speak out on emerging issues, and for that you need large numbers, because if the numbers are small, no one listens to you. And we want to influence healthy public policy. This is where I get so excited that once again we have the largest majority of MPs we have, because it is actually not only our NP colleagues, but also the RNs and the students that help us move so many of the initiatives that MPs are enjoying today. So when you have 41,000 people and thousands of them writing on a topic to a government and to opposition parties, well, there is not a surprise that government takes action on those issues. We have influence in many ways. We have influence eliminating the gaps in NP scope of practice, as you know, authority to prescribe controlled substances, including many of the drugs, heroin and methadone included, eligibility to register for the palliative care facility access, PCFA, which you could do through RNO, authority to order and apply ultrasound without restrictions, which was a biggie, and authority to order x-rays without restrictions. We also, as you know, were the lead organization pushing for the establishment of the first NP clinic and the subsequent 27 more that were announced in the past. And the approach that we want in the go forward for that is to look at what the communities need. If communities need more primary care, then we will push for more NP clinics. But what we will do first, and this is important for you to understand and understand the rationale, is to us to upgrade the current NP clinics that we have. For example, Sudbury was the perfect example where they had room in their clinic to put another NP and to put another RN and to have more secretarial support, but the government was not releasing funding. So in that case scenario, rather than pushing for more clinics, we will push first to optimize the clinics that we have. Funding commitment for 75 attending NPs. As some of you may know, I was the co-chair with the then Deborah Barnes from the ministry in developing the role description for the attending NPs, and I was the co-chair simply because we were the ones that pushed that funding and pushed the model out with then Premier McGuinty. At this point, we have 60. The slide is incorrect on that. We have 60 of the NPs already in place, and the third round is supposed to be announced soon, and we are pushing for that. Responding on the opioid overdose, well, you can do a check mark on that because absolutely we did succeed on that, and again, not only RNO is crediting RNO, but many others are crediting RNO for that success. Will we stop at 21? No, we will not. But it's no point to now get into that fight because I got quite a bit of assurances from the minister that if communities will need, the door is still open. But let's first get to the 21, and let's get communities that need more clinics to put their proposals, and then we can talk more. We have met with Christine Elliott more than once, several times, and Christine Elliott and I have a very fluent relationship. So some of that is formal meetings and otherwise, but we also have met formally. You have seen the pictures everywhere and the rah-rah-rah around that. And we don't meet, and this is important for you to know, we don't meet just to meet and have pictures, although I know members love it. We meet actually to deliver results. We have several VPGs that may be of interest to NPs and several that are in the works for NPs. I suggest that you go to the website and you do get engaged on that. And again, if there are areas of gap that you believe that will be important for NPs, by all means, we will be thrilled to do a VPG specific for NPs or to augment the current ones for NPs. So we have the supervised injection services VPG that came out in 2018, and obviously yesterday or Monday, when I was with the media, I absolutely put the VPG front and center so everybody knew that the VPG was already there. We launched a new VPG on providing care to 2S LGBTQI communities. That was launched in July 2018. We hope to have it ready for Friday. The revised breastfeeding VPG was released in August, and the perinatal depression VPG was the next edition was released at the board meeting with media present, etc. We do call them next edition rather than revised because it is like a book. It is next edition. So that's important for you to know. Just to mention, there is also the augmentation on funding for primary care that you are well aware, so I didn't go through that. And that, of course, includes NPs. And that also came a bit as a result of robust dialogue and feedback we got at the dialogue in the past. In terms of advocacy, in addition to what I mentioned, the NP role and scope, some of that I mentioned already, but what we are pushing and in outstanding gaps is the authority to perform point-of-care testing, the authority to order diagnostics in, like, for example, ECG, all situations, not only some, CT, MRIs, and nuclear medicine procedures, expanding authority to certify a death, authority to complete legal forms for mental health, and those is not just one form. It's 7 or 8 forms that need to be given authority to NPs, and fully utilizing NPs as most responsible providers in hospitals and communities, which I believe is possible, but I don't think many are doing. And the issue of compensation, which although we got progress, is not nearly enough to what needs to be compared to NPs in hospital care, for example. At the health system, we are pushing for national pharmacare, for improving and, quite frankly, changing the long-term care funding formula to move from a formula that is based only in CMIs to a formula that is based on CMIs and quality outcomes, and we can send you the backgrounder on that, and on stopping deaths, which continue to happen. In terms of powering members with the backgrounders, you have seen, and we can send you, or they are on the website, PG can tell us where to find, the backgrounders on increasing access to fully utilizing NPs, the role of the RN, transforming long-term care, which is what I spoke about just now, indigenous health, universal pharmacare, invest in oral health, which is a commitment that the current government made, and we are pushing it forward. And on that, of course, we are also doing the BPG on oral health, the patient-centered health record, and protecting our environment to improve health for all. So how do we do it? We do it by not only producing concept or intellectual materials, which is our backgrounders, our reports, etc. We also do it by mobilizing members like nobody else really does. And I'm not saying nobody else in nursing, nobody else in the world, period. And in fact, people come as much for the BPG program as they come to learn about activation of members to RNO as well as policy. So just for KPUR, Queen's Park on the Road, on this year, which is still ongoing, if you were to see the face of PG, even though she's always spiced up and full of pepper, she is quite tired because she has organized already 61 MPP visits that are ready to go, with 31 visits that are totally confirmed and the others needing to be confirmed. And for those, I am actually urging NPs to get involved, and we will send the message to all the NPs again. Several of the visits do have NPs present, but not all. So what PG will do is to send the visits, to post them, but it's up to you guys to then connect with PG and say, yes, I'm ready to come. And yes, of course, we push the issues of NPs anyways, but it's very different if they hear that directly from an NP versus they hear that from a student or an RN. Not that the RN and the student will not push for your issues. They will, but it's different when they hear it from an expert in their own right, on their own role, right? So that will be very important. So you can see there are some pictures of NPs, of RNs and NPs that have already met, and then there are many more to come, so there are opportunities. And if you want, PG can send you where the locations are, if you can, by Friday, so then NPs can tell you directly if they can attend, and that would be fantastic. The only requirement is that they be RNO NPs, right, to be members, and that is the same requirement for RN and nursing students. In terms of connecting, there is the NP Forum online community. There is the NPIG Insider, which today we're launching the first one, but will happen every month. There is the 5th Annual NP Knowledge Symposium Exchange, which is happening November 20th, and we absolutely need those of you that are interested to run to register, because it is really on first-come, first-served basis. And we do cap it at about 70, and we cap it at 70 because we know that the at the last minute, at least 10 or 15 will not show up because they are busy with the mother, the father, the spouse, the child, etc. But in reality, we really cannot hold in that room more than 50, 55 because we do it at RNO so that we keep the cost manageable because we provide you with lunch, we provide you with breaks, and the speakers come. And on this specific one, you have the Deputy Minister, Ellen Hangus, coming on November 20, and several other speakers like Patrick Discerny that will speak about the opioids crisis and others. And also at lunch, we will have several leaders from various sectors coming and speaking with MPs to hear directly how MPs can be optimized within their sector. So there will be people from public health, people from hospitals, people from home care, people from long-term care, and you will have, I think, a lot of both fun and good information from them. Again, that is November 20th at RNO from, I believe, is at 8:30 till 4 or 4:30 p.m. We do people that commit to come to the whole day. We don't want people to come for half a day because then that's not fair to the others. And every year we end up with a wait list, so we really need people that are committed to come, again, November 20th at RNO. We do not cover the cost of coming, or we do not cover the accommodation if you need to come the day before, but we don't charge a penny for the event and stop leaders coming to speak. And we also have, as I said, the breaks, the lunch, all that free of cost. Queen's Park on the road, I spoke with you. Please volunteer to come. PG will send the next locations. The fall tour, we are in the midst of it. I had the privilege to go to Ottawa. Was delighted to go to Petrolia, Sarnia, and Windsor. I was also at Trillium. I need to tell you that I was so thrilled that every time I pull the membership form, because I can't help it but do that, I am a consummate marketeer of our association because I believe it's a fantastic association that everybody should be a member. Every time I pulled the form, whether it was an RN or an MP, they said, I'm a member. So it really warmed my heart, and Larissa was with me at Trillium, and she saw that right there when we asked out of the 35 people that were in the room, how many of you are members? Most of the hands, and this was only with MPs at Trillium that we met. They asked for a meeting. All of them were members, so we were absolutely delighted about that. Queen's Park Day is on February 21st, and if some of you want to attend, please send the name alongside with your Queen's Park on the road and with your November 20, because we will try, if many of you got into the November 20, we will try to give to others the Queen's Park Day so everybody gets a dips at it. We do not cover, except for the board and the assembly, we do not cover a hotel to come the evening before or the travel, but you absolutely have the whole day, and it's a full day that you hear from the minister, the health critics. You go to the legislature, you hear the rah-rah-rah about nurses, and everybody gets introduced 20,000 times in the legislature by their MPPs, etc. It's really a very important day to gauge the power that RNO and its members have. And you do get makes a lovely breakfast with your MPPs. You get a fabulous lunch and again all the program. So I encourage you to come. So if we can send tomorrow all those dates, November 20, the Queen's Park on the road sites and dates, and the Queen's Park Day, so more and more MPs can get involved, that will be good. And then if MPs can become MPPs, that would be good too. If you are interested in that, we can help you on that as well for the next round of MPPs or of MPs. Nursing Week. What we do at Nursing Week is basically to take your MPP to work, again organized by PG, and we would love to take MPPs to your workplaces and to see the role of MPs. So again, you can put already the date that week, and people can volunteer, and we can at least start to put them up where MPPs can go with RNs and students, but to the MP site. That will be fantastic. The more we can highlight the diversity of roles that MPs do in the various sectors, the better it will be for MPs and for the public that you guys serve and that we serve together. We do BPSO media conferences, so we do about 5 to 6 every year. So if some of you work in BPSOs, please be the microphone for us. Speak with your BPSOs and tell them that they should volunteer as a site for a press conference. This is where they will speak about the success as BPSOs. They will speak about the BPGs they implement. They will have patients, MPs, RNs presenting, and it's a lot of fun. This past year, of course, we also did the all candidates debate, and we had 8 of them, and they were absolutely very successful with lots of attendees. And kudos to our board and assembly that really with PG organized them and with excellent turnaround. The annual Health Professional Expo, that's during Nursing Week, and that's simply an expo to find work. But also in the annual Health Professions Expo, we could do a session for MPs. So again, PG will tell you the date of this event, and we will send that to you. And if some of you want to organize, or if NPIG Larissa wants to organize a session or 2 specific for MPs, we will be absolutely thrilled to do that. The issue is it's very easy for RNO to influence healthy public policy and to inspire because we have 41 and growing strong members, and because we have the relationship with all the parties and with the current government, which is very strong, and because we connect with about anywhere between 90 to 103 MPPs every single year. So it's not a wonder that we have the level of influence, but we have the ear of everybody because we do connect, and because also when things don't work well, we are pretty much in the media. So one way or another, and the SIS OPS was the example of that, RNO and government past and present do say that gets its way, and it's because we are not about ourselves. This is not about what's important to RNO, and this is not only what we do is not only important to RNs and NPs and nursing students. Is that true? It is, but it's even more important that it's important to the patients that you care for. And also we have that level of influence because we are a very proven, stable organization that is reliable and credible, that we rah, like we did today with the thank you to the Premier and the Minister because they delivered on the supervised consumption and overdose sites. And we don't rah and make noise when things need to improve. So they know that they can rely on us for A and for B, for supporting policy when it's good policy, and for speaking out on how policy needs to shape up when policy is not the best. The expertise and the resources of an expert policy department that is composed of 6 expert people that have expertise in each one of them in their specific topic domains, whether it is social determinants of health with Dr. Linan Mulrooney, or whether it is environmental determinants of health or pharmacare, or Medicare, which is Kim Jarvie working with myself, or whether it is on nursing issues, Sarah Boswell and Joy, and whether it is on mobilizing people, which is PG, and the 2 of them are with me here. The credibility of our expertise is there, and that gets augmented with an equally large communications department. I mean, not everybody gets top reporters like Marian Zich, who was a producer at CDC, or just last month, Jonathan Sher, who was a top investigative reporter at London Free Press, coming to work to RNO because they want to work in this association. We don't even go out to people, they come to us. That level of expertise and them alongside with several others in the communications department, plus a very strong policy department and the department of membership, which is large, and of IT, which is very large, and of IABPG for the guidelines. That is what gives us the credibility that we have, alongside with an activist board that wants us to go bigger, deeper, and faster, and a membership that is really running sometimes ahead of us and sometimes with us. That is why we have the credibility and the influence we have. Let me just end probably by giving you just a touch on the liability protection. I told you PLP is included in the price of membership, so that is absolutely important for you. And I told you that there is now the promo that you recruit 2 RNs and or 2 NPs or a mix of the above, and you get a copy of the book. It's a $90 book, and you get it shipped to your home. It's in terms of price, no one can really compete with RNO because the price is very low. And I told you that it is $260 for NPs and RNs, including PLP and all taxes, and also for those of you that are on, it's $170. And the savings that you have are tremendously incredible, not only on membership, but on membership is about the saving compared to any other program. The other programs run between $530 to $670-something, so more than that actually. So the savings are very significant for you, which is also important in this day and age that money doesn't grow in the trees, not that ever did. The book, I don't need to tell you more because I already told you enough. In terms of government actions on the first 100 days, you heard about the curriculum and the changes. RNO was very vocal and will continue. On the issues of social assistance, minimum wage that will not increase, the issue of the environment that we have seen some reversals that will cost us extremely expensive. And you have also heard that it is a government that from time to time is also able and willing to hear, and that's the proof of the supervised consumption sites that the Premier has said absolutely not, but on Monday they announced that they will continue with them. So that is a good segue to the fact that we can continue to dream big with MPs, and we need to continue to push big. And I would like to actually then stop there for a minute so we can hear from you of what areas you think we should continue to push, because I think that's very, very important. If I may, and then if we have time, I will continue with more in the presentation. But let's stop for a minute to get questions if you have received any. And you can repeat how to pose questions.
If you would like to post anonymously on Webex, there's a Q&A section on the right hand of the Webex screen. You just have to click that, put your question in, and hit send. You can also send privately. There's a link there as well to send privately. Or if you just want to talk, you can just go ahead and speak over the phone.
Any questions? So let me ask you a question. If you had a magic wand and could ask Premier Ford to address one issue, either in your workplace or in your role as MP, what would that be? If you could send us a couple of answers, that would be great. And maybe for the ones that send you an answer, we will say they need to bring one NP, not even 2, and they get the book. Oh, you got already an answer, so that person will need to write, I went too fast. ability to be MRP. Yes, this is something that I already pushed with Minister Elliott, and we will continue to push. So I would like to hear more. What will it take? What will it take for you? Because I do know that you actually can be an MRP, that this is organizations that are not allowing you. Isn't that the case? Or correct me, please. What's the blockage? And let me call it directly blockage, or to the person that asked the ability to be MRP. What's the blockage of why you cannot be an MRP? Can the person that wrote answer, please? Organizational restrictions. This is the same organizational restrictions that we experience on the issue of NP admission and treatment. Not on the issue, as you know, or some of you that are newer in the field may not know, but it was RNO that actually got the issue of NP admission, treatment, transfer, and discharge. Was actually in a private meeting with Premier McGuinty and myself, and then it became public. And it was, quite frankly, an important strategy to ensure that not only physicians have the key to the hospital, and when then they withdraw, at the time they were threatening to withdraw services. So it was an issue of opening access faster, and it was not only an issue of discharging patients, which is happening with NPs in many places, but it's also the issue of admission from the emergency department, which you can admit, to the units and transfer from one unit to another. So we are experiencing the same barriers on that, and that's something that we will be tackling on November when we meet in person, and that we should absolutely, Larissa, take on to address and maybe even develop a backgrounder on that, Joy, so that we can push it further. I hear the issue of point of care testing, the issue of point of care testing. It is an issue that we are addressing, and I do hope and I do think the government will move on that. So I don't think for that we need any in-depth homework, but the MRP, yes, because that's a more substantive barrier. The issue of, so someone said here, and that's fantastic, that is an MRP at the community health center. Bravo. If you can write to Joy or to PG your name, I would be interested for Joy and for me to continue the dialogue with you, because that can be a kind of a springboard to see how it works. How is it that you got the physician buy-in that someone else mentioned here? And what can be done with that can help us get MRP all the way to hospitals. Anything else? I so far see 1, 2, 3, 4 people that if they, no, only 3 because one of them already got a book. But that's fine, we will give it a book again. 4 people that sent important questions. Others have posed more than one question of the 4. And that if you bring an NP and you give the name of the NP that you brought, you will not even need to bring 2. Not that you don't need to, you should bring all of them. But absolutely, if you bring an NP, we will send you a book. And you will need to tell Daniel that we need a 50% discount to the ones that pose questions. Any other questions, any other suggestions that you have for even these teleconferences, these webinars? Any other topics that will be of importance to you that you can suggest? Can you tell me if there are, sorry, yeah, you can read it. Issues of MRP also include discrepancy in coverage for nights and weekends. Yeah. vacation and B, not willing to collaborate in coverage. Yeah. Well, you know, believe it or not, I do have an interesting relationship with Nadia Alam, the new president of the OMA. So the issue of MRP is an issue that absolutely I can tackle with the OMA now. There was nobody that we could talk. They were in such shambles when they did all the overthrown of their board, etc. But now we could tackle the issue of MRP together.
Another question came in. My biggest concern is support for ongoing education.
Okay, so support for ongoing education, let me remind you that you can receive from our, so I don't know if you mean support in terms of days off, which we cannot help you, but we can strategize together. Financial support, if you have never received support, you can receive up to $1,500 from our NEO. So you can apply to the NEI for educational events, whether it's formal education, to a specialty, or to do a PhD if you are an NP, or to go to a conference. So please know about that, and we should put a link to the NEI when we send the email. Thank you. That's very important. Anything else? You have anything else?
So somebody's asking, saying that they would like to bill OHIP for services.
I have heard about this before. I have heard about this before to the colleague that wrote about that. I do not think that that's a fight worth barking at, because I don't think the OMA will give you a penny of OHIP. As it is, they're fighting with the arbitrator and with the government, etc. But I don't see why NPs couldn't bill a different pot of money for NPs, and it's something that we should look, as long as it is accessible publicly to the patients, right? As long as we will not support NPs charging patients, let me say that. But we support NPs being either salaried and with good salaries and compensation and good benefits. But if doctors can bill OHIP, I'm not sure why NPs couldn't have some type of billing capacity, likely not OHIP, because doctors will not give you a penny. Let us do some homework, both from a principal perspective, because we don't support too much the issue of fee-for-service, because we don't think it's the best model to deliver care, but let us do some homework, and let us do also homework on other venues that we can look at. Other questions?
So not a question, but a statement. Someone stated that a webinar on PLP targeted specifically for NPs so they can better understand how incredible the PLP and lab programs are.
Okay. Absolutely, yes. We can do a webinar for NPs on PLP with Magnus and with Daniel, and they can explain it in depth. Because the PLP, and Daniel is here, maybe you can call him and he can use 5 minutes to explain the difference between PLP and other programs. I'm sure you will be delighted. Yeah.
So another question.
So I can start to explain that.
Okay.
I would be so happy if Daniel hears my explanation. He will feel proud of me. PLP, you need to know, is an insurance program. It's very different than other programs that are discretionary. An insurance program means that we have the duty by law, the duty to defend. So if an NP, or an RN for that matter, gets in trouble, Daniel, you need to hear me. Daniel, you must hear me. Right. I'm giving the PLP. Right. Let's see if I make it. If I graduate. Okay. So I was saying that PLP is an insurance program that is very different than some other programs that may be discretionary. Yeah. And insurance program means that by law you have a duty to defend. So if an NP or an RN for that matter gets in trouble, and they're deemed not to be criminal, of course, right? Like we had with Loffer, that we have a duty to defend you. We simply have a duty. We cannot say, well, you don't meet the criteria, right? We have a duty to defend you. And that is tremendously important. When you think that for $270, you get not only all the benefits that I spoke about, discounts in conferences or coming free to the events that we do or meeting with MPPs or lobbying for the issues that are so important for you and for the patients you care, but you also get the PLP included for that price. It's hugely cheap, quite frankly. And if you are ONA, which some of you are, it's only $175. And if you are in mat leave or if you are working less than 14 to 15 hours a week, it's only $80. $87.
Yeah.
If you can share more about the PLP, because someone asked that if we explain more, because it's an amazing program.
Okay. Now, or if I could go over what our PLP is, or if there are specific questions, I can also address those as well too.
My suggestion is first go through it, and then people will put questions if they have.
Oh, okay. So the professional liability protection program is to help the nurse when there are situations where there is a lawsuit or if there's a criminal prosecution. So to provide help for the practitioner, and if negligence is part of that, and it provides money to compensate the victim. So it is up to $10 million.
So $10 million, if one of your patients complains about negligence, is $10 million that you can be covered, that your patient can be compensated.
Right. Yeah. So that is a lot more than the College of Nurses of Ontario's requirement for NPs, as we know, is $5 million. So number one, PLP is a requirement. Number two, RNL's PLP satisfies the CNO's requirement.
And number three is not discretionary. We have a duty to defend.
Right. So that's
to me, that's amongst the most important ones.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the difference between PLP and LAPS, the legal assistance program,
which is the one that I said to you that is not included in the 260 or 175 if you are ONA, that is $60 that is separate that you need to pay, but that I have it also and gives me a peace of mind to sleep.
Right. So the PLP requirement of the college is for the PLP which comes with your membership. And this LAP covers things like if there's a complaint to the CNO, if there's an investigation by the CNO, and if there are employment-related matters like wrongful dismissal, and if you are called to be a witness at an inquest. Now, so CNO investigation situations, employment situations are not lawsuits, are not police prosecutions. So those are not covered by PLP. Okay, so that. But those are important areas to one's nursing practice. Like, would there be a complaint to the college? One needs to go through the process, and our lab program provides very, very good advice because we have been doing this since the 1980s. It's a well-funded, well-established program. We have worked with many, many members, thousands of members. That's not an exaggeration, to help them through a very challenging situation. And so that's, for $60, we often heard from our members, you are crazy not to have that. So that's, I think, sums it up all.
Very good. Thank you, Daniel. I don't know if there are other questions, but before we end and before PG gives us more questions, I would love if you can, and I am not going to offer a book for this, I better say it in advance, if you can just send the number from 0 to 10, how you rate the webinar, just so we know if this format works in terms of presentation, questions, etc. 0 being pathetic and 10 being excellent. If you can just send the number, however many of you are willing to send the number, I promise not to count it against you if it's a 0, although we may take you the book back. I'm joking. Daniel, I said to the people that if they send questions, because I wanted to get them going, now we got more than what we wanted, but that's okay, that if they bring only one NP, not RN, one NP, that they will get the book. All right. So here you go. We have several books to give. Those of you that pose questions, I don't know if PG has your name. Please send, you contact him, that you can contact him. We will contact you, and we promise we are going, no, they need to bring an NP, one. Once they get the one NP, they get the book, and you send that, please, and Josephine can give you a book. Fantastic. Any other questions? Any other comments?
We have one question, but just to say, if you posted a question and we did not get to address that today, you can either send us an email or we'll follow up with an email to you later on this week. There is one question, or a statement and a question. Nurse practitioners should have the freedom to work as independent contractors and bill services to the province. NPs can practice independently, but how do we get paid?
No, I understand. That was the question about the OHIP before. So we will look into that, because I doubt that any doctor will allow you to touch OHIP. That's their sacred pot of money that they're fighting over. But we will look at ways to look at that. Any other comments, questions? Are we doing good with time? Larissa, do you want to do a closing remarks, please?
Yes, thank you so much, everyone, for your time. Thank you so much, Doris, for your time. What a fabulous outline of all the things that RNAO has been doing and is currently doing on behalf of nurse practitioners and registered nurses and nursing students and the public to continue to advocate for improving our health and our healthcare system. So thank you so much. And my mind is swimming with all the ways that we can get involved, and so I would urge those who are on the call and those who listen to the recording, there are so many ways that we as nurse practitioners can continue to show leadership within our wonderful profession by becoming politically active, becoming engaged in what's going on provincially and developing policy. So I really urge you to please look at those dates, join us in meeting with MPPs in their offices, come to Queen's Park, and we look forward to networking with all of you. Look forward to our next webinar. So next month we have the in-person knowledge exchange at home office, so please register if you have not already. Again, that is November 20th, so please register for that. And our next online NTIG Insider will be December 19th. From 5 to 6 p.m., and we'll be focusing on a panel discussion on the topic of medical assistance in dying. So please send us feedback on how you thought this webinar was and any thoughts you have for future webinars, and we look forward to seeing you at the Knowledge Exchange. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great night.